Ladies and gentlemen, the Loki mid-month patch notes have dropped, so we have lots to talk about there. At the same time, all of the Black Friday sales and events and everything have dropped, so there's an overwhelming amount of content to cover. I know you have tons of questions. I will be covering it very, very soon in subsequent videos, but I just wanted to announce sort of the timeline for things, and also an exciting new thing we're going to be trying on the channel for fun. I need you. If you're going to be gambling, if you're going to be spending crystals, if you're going to be doing pulls on CTP chests or comic card chests, if you're going to be crafting your cards, if you're going to be reforging CTPs, if you're going to be doing anything RNG based, gambling for artifacts, etc., I want you, if you can, to record yourself. You don't have to like record yourself like I'm recording myself, but you can just record your screen. If you want to record your audio and talk as well, that's cool. And I want you to send it to me. So send me your gambling videos. I want as many of them as possible, so don't be shy. Send them my way. I've already got a bunch of people lined up sending them over, so it's going to be amazing. And I'm basically going to put together a bunch of react videos where I react to your good or bad luck. So please hit me up. Record the video however you want. You can upload the video to YouTube and then send me the link on Discord or Twitter or Patreon. You can, Dropbox and send it to me that way. You can Google Drive and send it to me that way. Just don't send me an email with a file because that's creepy and that's probably a virus. So please don't do that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'll mention it in a couple of other videos so people, remember it because it's something I've never done before, but it was suggested to me and I think it's a really awesome idea. Now, as far as the update, it's scheduled for tonight, about 13 hours after the drop of this video at 7 p.m. Pacific, as I've highlighted here, which is 10 p.m. Eastern time. So it's a little bit confusing because the update for Loki and Sylvie is happening in sort of the middle of the day as far as the daily reset goes. But after today's daily reset in 1 hour after this video drops, some of the Black Friday deals are going to appear. And then the rest of the Black Friday stuff is going to appear the next day at the Wednesday daily reset. So it's a little bit confusing. But anyways, in between two daily resets, we have Loki. And for those two daily resets, it triggers a bunch of the Black Friday stuff. So yeah, I'll be posting the Black Friday stuff in subsequent videos. Don't worry. We're going to cover all that. I'm going to be ranking all the best uniforms. I'm going to be giving you guys all the advice and tips that I have under the sun. Do not worry. So we get a new hero, Sylvie, to go along with Loki. She is a Loki. I was going to call her Loki. She is technically a Loki, but yeah. So we're getting Sylvie. Sylvie is going to be an alien female hero who's universal. I was a little bit shocked to see that she is all of these things, but whatever. She's going to be a bio subscription character, but during the Black Friday event, you will be able to get her for free. So I will cover that in this video just to show you guys because it is unique. You'll be able to get Black Friday. There's two types of Black Friday tokens. There's ones that you get by spending money, and there's ones that you get for free. The ones that you get for free, you can exchange 50 of those tokens to get 5 biometrics of Sylvie. So she is farmable for free for a limited time after her release. And then after that, you will have to spend money. So I would just pick her up now. She's got the same leadership as Loki. She's got the same guaranteed crit rate as Loki. And she's also got similar skill damage bonus damage. She also has damage reduction and super armor all defense, which is really nice. So she should be pretty easy to play. However, that's pretty much it. I can't really report anything else that jumps out at me for her. She doesn't have any support buffs, so she's not a support character, as some people speculated. She's not a support buff for Loki. She doesn't have any iframe ignore or revive, so she doesn't seem to have any value for PvP. She does have penetration. She has a 50% penetration here on diagonal slash, which is nice. It removes debuff, like it cleanses her, it gives her invincibility. She has a 30% heal with a frenzy buff, which is also pretty cool. She has pretty low cooldowns. They're all 15 seconds or less. She also has a 100% damage proc that you can pass or activate on her 4th skill. But yeah, just looks like a generic character. And again, that's not a bad thing if the game had more opportunities to use generic characters, but it doesn't. So you're looking at a Shadowland character, Alliance Conquest character. That's it. That's basically what you're looking at. And a character for story mode. We'll get to that real soon. But yeah, so a lot of people are going to be disappointed with Sylvie. I'm expecting that. Let's talk about Loki. Loki is a super villain. Very, very clear here. He is a villain. He's not a hero. Okay. He keeps his abilities. He keeps everything else the same. For his uniform effect, they bumped up his chain hit by 5%, and then they bumped up his ignore dodge by 5%. This is a sort of a common theme, as you'll see. They moved his guaranteed crit rate from his 4-star passive to his tier 2 passive, so they didn't increase it. They just moved it. And then they increased his skill damage by 5%, and then he has the bonus damage. They also they kept the 30% energy attack, and then they actually gave him a brand new 20% damage reduction. So the damage reduction is brand new, and it's should help his survivability a lot. Everything else is basically just a very meager 5% buff. As far as his skills go, I have a couple of things to say. So no surprises here, no like crazy ignore iframe or any nutso stuff like that. But here's what you want to know. He has paralysis, silence, fracture, bleed. Oh, not bleed. Burn and snare. So he has 5 of the 6 abilities. The only ability he's missing for ABX and ABL is shock, right? Because on 5 he has paralysis and burn, which covers that, and then on 4 he has silence. So silence, burn, and paralysis, that covers all of the ABX stuff. And then he has snare on 5, and he has fracture on 2, which covers everything but shock. So very, very likely that he is going to be a mega star for ABX and that he'll dominate. As far as his skills go, I don't want to get too into the nitty-gritty details here. They don't really give him any new buffs that he didn't already have in sort of big quantities. They kept his 50% damage proc for 2 attacks. They didn't give him like accumulation or anything new on his skills here that he wouldn't already have. So they kept pretty much everything else the same. Actually, you know what? The increase attack, instead of being 50%, it's now 60%. So they did bump that up a little bit. The percentages are lower. He only has 100% on one skill, and then the other 2 big ones are 70 and 70. So we'll have to see, because his old uniform is 104, 108, and 102. Or sorry, 130. 104, 102, and 130. So we'll have to see, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm also happy to report, for those of you upset about Loki being the bowler Loki, that his 5th skill is called God of Stories. So read into that however you will, but I am excited for what that skill might look like. It might look juicy. And then he gets his tier 4. So Loki gets a tier 4. It looks really good. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to try to FOMO overhype you guys, but it does look really nice. So check this out. When you pop his tier 4, he gets a 40% basic attack increase, which seems very generic, and you're like, oh, I'm putting you to sleep, Alex. But then he creates 8 misdirections. So you get 8 Loki clones that pop up. This is really cool. And every time it uses one of the clones when you're hit to increase Loki's attack accumulatively. So that's an accumulation buff by 7.5%. And each one that gets used heals him by 15% of his HP. So you in total get 120% heal when you get hit 8 times. And then you get a 7.5 times 8. You get a 60% accumulating attack buff on top of the 40. Very, very strong and very cool and very thematic. I love the tier 4 skill. I think it's fantastic. It's called Renewed Deity, which also makes you think of the show and makes you think of the God of Stories. So I think this is going to be a good one, boys. I think it's going to be a good one, okay? I'm not going to get too hyped, but I think it's going to be a good one. And then Sylvie's tier 3. The animation itself looks a little basic. It's all right. I like the beginning with all of the sort of clones, the green sort of slash clones things that you see. But I think the ending is a little bit, there's a little bit of a sort of fizzle. I wish there was like bigger, greener explosions. The buffs are good though. The buffs are strong on her tier 3 skill. They are quite good there. Oh, Loki still doesn't have accumulation at all. I just noticed that. He sort of has accumulation on his tier 4. Sort of, if you read the word accumulatively as accumulation. So yeah. And then we have the new artifacts for Loki and Sylvie. So Loki is getting a artifact that increases his damage. So remember, damage scaling is better than attack scaling. It increases his damage for every 1% of his crit rate. So this is the same as Cable's artifact. This is a very strong artifact, especially because it has an additional 0.8% of total instinct up to 35%, which means this scales very well with tier 4. It's very easy to cap with tier 4. It also means it scales really well with having your crit rate capped, which we know is a benefit, and it's sort of a prerequisite for having a rage CTP equipped. So all of these things lead us to, lead me to assume that Loki is going to be an absolute monster for ABX and ABL. And then Sylvie's is super boring. It ignores non-boss enemy damage decrease. So this is a PvP artifact. Maybe they're planning to give Sylvie a PvP uniform in the future, but she basically has nothing to do, no use for this uniform, this artifact right now, because she doesn't have iframe ignore or any of the relevant abilities for PvP at the moment. And you know, having a tier 3 is nice, but having no uniform means she's not even gonna have the stats to, you know, make the fight worthwhile, let alone anything else, considering she's going up against tier 4s. As for the game era fixes, they're just kind of whatever, just a couple of weird ones. But I also wanted to show you guys how to get Sylvie. So here it is, the Black Friday Happy Week event. So this is going to trigger, this event is going to start on Wednesday. So this is why it's a little bit confusing, because when you log in an hour after today's reset, you're going to see some of the Black Friday events and sales, but you're not going to see this one, because this one only starts on Wednesday. It starts the day after. Because it has to wait for, of course, the characters to drop before you can start collecting tokens for the character, aka Sylvie. So starting on Wednesday, which is about 12 hours after the update comes out, you're going to have this new token event. It's got these 3 lines, the Roman numeral 3, and you're going to be able to collect these tokens. I believe you can collect either 300 or 310 tokens, because you have a total of 240 tokens that you can collect one time each. With these, you know, use 600 energy, clear 60 dimension missions, use 3 million gold, do 30 timeline battles. So this is accumulated, meaning that you only get them once. So you get 60, 60, 60, 60, which is 240. And then you get the clear world boss one time, which is a daily reward that you can get either 6 or 7 times. So like I said, you either get 300 tokens over the course of this event, or you get 310. Now, what do you get with these free tokens? Well, take a look. You can get 5 biometrics of Sylvie for 50 tokens, which is really good, because you can also get a tier 3 character selector with another 250 tokens, which is fantastic. I'll be making a video very shortly where I list the best characters for this tier 3 selector, and you can actually find the list of characters here, but it goes from Captain America all the way to Shang-Chi and Hela, and also includes Ghost Rider. So really good tier 3 selector. For some characters that recently got buffs and recently got uniforms. Really nice. In addition, this is a really good event because you can also get tier 4 materials, and you can actually purchase them twice. So you can get 100 carbonadium, 100 soul of the Faltine, and 80 life seed. And I did the math. You can actually get all of the tier 4 materials and the Sylvie bios. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm very, very happy with that. Keep in mind, however, and I think most people should just choose all of the tier 4 materials and Sylvie. That's my opinion. But keep in mind, however, that they upgraded the tier 3 character selector rewards. What that means is the alternative rewards distributed if you already possess the hero at tier 3. So if you, for whatever reason, if you don't want the tier 4 materials and you want to choose the tier 3 selector, but you just want tier 3 materials, just choose a tier 3 character that you already have. Because in the past, if you chose a tier 3 you already had, let's say Black Widow, they would just give you 512 biometrics. They don't do that anymore. They give you the 512 biometrics, and they give you like 400 CCF, 500 Essence of Dimension, and 500 TCP. So that can be more valuable to you, potentially, than these other rewards. Again, I think the tier 4 materials are more useful, but just keep that in mind. If you really need tier 3 materials, that is an option. And then I highly recommend getting Sylvie, at least unlocking her at 1 star, just so that you have her tucked away. And I recommend everybody does that so that you don't miss out on her in case she becomes meta in the future sometime. Yeah, there's a bunch of other rewards, there's a bunch of other stuff here as well. You know, login events, character ranking events, crystal bonus stuff. We'll talk about this in other videos when I get into the nitty gritty about the Black Friday stuff. But just keep in mind that some of this stuff is going to trigger in an hour, and then some of the stuff is going to trigger, you know, in about 25 hours. So it can be a little bit overwhelming because there's so much and it's happening at different times. But just keep it locked on the channel. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will guide you through everything, and you'll see even more through the videos and the reactions and the live streams, etc. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Appreciate it. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you tonight. Take care.